Hello everyone and everybody, I'm Catnap, but you can call me Cat, and welcome to Coffee with Cupid. Now this is a podcast style thing where I yap about things that are on my mind, different topics that you guys recommend. Of course this is the first episode, so I did choose the topic, but going forward I would love to hear what you guys have to say, and I'm excited to see your opinions, comments on the topics that we do discuss. I'm here to make memories and just have a cozy time, just talk and just, exist. Be maybe a background noise while you guys are cleaning. Maybe you want to have a little coffee break and you want to listen to something in the meantime, or maybe you're trying to sleep and you need something in the background. Hi, hello. I hope this can help in that way. In the future, I do plan to have people join me and do an interview style thing. Of course, I just graduated university and I am starting on my official professional career, and I fear the path I have chosen expects me to have very long hours. So because of that, I can't really do that all the time, the interview style stuff. So you guys are stuck with me for now. I hope that is a-okay. But yeah, let's get started. The drink of choice, because since this is Coffee with Cupid, I do have coffee with me. And the drink I have is called Holy Cannoli Cold Brew Latte, Bones Coffee Company. Now, I recently started drinking Bones. Not sponsored, hashtag non-sponsored. My friend Riru, who, if you actually know me, and this isn't a video that you stumbled along, which if it is, hello, welcome, thank you so much for checking me out. But if you're from my community, you know Riru. Riru is a very close friend of mine, and she actually got this for me over like 2 days ago, I think, over the weekend. So thank you so much for getting it for me. I'm brand new to Bones Coffee, and so far I've been drinking their holiday ground beans one. Terrible description, but we got there. And so I have it not in can, the Holy Cannoli, I have it in cup with ice, so let's try it. I really like it. There's something very smooth, I guess. I burped, excuse me. There's something smooth about it. Of course, I love coffee, but I'm not an expert in coffee, so I'm going to explain it to the best of my abilities. It's very smooth, has a cinnamon taste to it. I haven't had a cannoli since I was 5. I can't say if it's accurate or not, but certainly when I think of it, it does taste like that image in my head. So I would say it's very good. I think it's a solid 6.5 out of 10. That may seem a little low, because it's a little watered down, because I put ice in it, and I've had it in the cup for 10 minutes, which is completely on me. I think if it wasn't watered down, it'd probably be a 7.5, really, because this is not the normal coffee I go for. Also, I want to emphasize that this most likely will not be edited. If it is edited, it's because I sat there too long, or I keep on rambling and I realize I said the same thing 5 times in a row, which is something I am very good at doing. So yes, hello, welcome. Let's actually begin now. Now, finding the topic for this first episode was quite difficult, and there's many reasons why. It's just when you start something, you want it to be big, or you want it to work. And I didn't know if I wanted a huge topic where I talk about something very, not big, but something that holds a lot of meaning, or if I wanted to go more small and just talk about my day, but I didn't think that fit right. And I didn't know if I would even go through with this style. This has been in the works for a while, and like I said earlier, I was planning to do interviews. Actually, that was going to be the plan for the whole style of Coffee with Cupid, because originally it was going to be interviews with people in the community and talking to people in vtubing and other content creators, just yapping about. But of course, that's not how it ended up because of early career things, which it's good to be flexible. So, like I said, you're stuck with me now. And so because of that, and because I kept thinking about it for the last week, I realized that should be the topic. And what I mean by that, it is, give me a second, I've been pronouncing it wrong all day in my head and I fear that has tripped me up. Authenticity. I'm gonna go with it. Could I Google search how to say it? Absolutely. Could I Google search how to spell it to figure it out? Absolutely. But I'm not, because I think it's funny. But yeah. And I guess this word has a lot of different meanings for everybody, which seems a little silly. But I guess every word technically has its own meaning because everybody has a different perception, on life. And at least for the way I'm going about this word is that it's just how we portray ourselves to others, how honest we are with ourselves to others by how we act, how we behave, other things like that. So in this case, what I'm discussing is how I am, like in person compared to online, because I think that's a fun topic. I don't know if it is for y'all, but I think it's quite interesting, especially because VTubing content creation gives you such a huge variety of ways to portray yourself. VTubing, you can be your own character. You can be anything. You can be a character, original character, or you can be yourself. Same with content creation in general. If you aren't like a VTuber and you show your face, you can be like yourself, or you can look like yourself and be a different person, which is so interesting. Now, I don't think it's inherently bad when, people play a character. Of course, if they're not hurting anybody, that's kind of the line I draw. It's like once you start using it for, I guess, wrongdoing or to hurt others, I think that's quite distasteful and rude. So because of that, if you're doing it friendly, and politely, and I'm not saying like acting mature or whatever, I'm just saying like, I think you guys get what I mean by that. I think that's okay, And personally for me, I use this platform as a way to make memories and connect with others, as a way to meet others with similar interest, and just be able to perform. I was a huge performer growing up. Performing has been a part of my life, every step of the way. And as I've gotten older and have put my focus on other things, it has slowly drifted from me. And a lot of the reasons is because I'm disabled, but it be like that sometimes, And I'm great with it. It's taken a lot of time to accept it, but it has been 5 to 6 years and I've been able to accept it. Of course, at the start it was a little rough, but it is what it is. And I think a lot of the reason behind that is that content creation has been with me during that whole time. I started when I was 16. It was peak pandemic. And I think it's similar for a lot of people as well. I feel like a lot of us started during that time because we could. We were all at home. Personally, I was a student, a very young student, in high school. I was a sophomore. And I told myself if I wasn't going to do it then I never was going to. And it was the perfect time to allow myself to be able to explore it, be able to learn how to edit and other things like that. And of course, I have a long way to go with it because I did take a 5-year hiatus, but alas, I still did it. And it was so much fun. I showed my face. That's how I started off. I was a Minecraft YouTuber, which is so crazy to talk about and say. I played it nonstop for 2 years and I got so burnt out. I haven't played it since. Though I have dabbled in it once or twice, but I can't play on it continuously without feeling like, oh my gosh, am I going to become one again? And I like being variety, so I don't want to stick myself in one place. And then I stopped because I became a senior in high school and I was like, I need to lock in. Especially because I was taking so many AP and honors. I was part of 12 clubs. I hit 200 plus community service hours. I needed to lock in with it. I was like, I'm committed to the bit. And I got into college, I got into an honor school and everything like that. And I graduated this year, as I stated 3 million times throughout this so far. We're 10 minutes in. I think I mentioned it like 5 times already. My bad. But yeah, and throughout it, I streamed once or twice during those 5 years, just a couple here and there. And there was a time when I was back for a couple months, like 3 or 4, and then I had 2 near-death experiences, and I was like, it's not a time to come back. I need to lock in again, but for myself. And finally, I'm here. I started back in December, and that's when I started getting into VTubing. I knew that, you know, I wanted to go into a career where your digital footprint does matter to an extent. And I wanted not to have the fear of people figuring out that I make content. Of course, like if they stumbled across it and they follow me, you know, it is what it is. But I didn't want to deal with the questions, oh, so you do this, da 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 da, you know. It's not for me. And also, I wanted to find a way to get over my social anxiety. I am quite a talkative person. I do love people. So I would say I am slightly extroverted, but I have a very low social battery and I'm quite the anxious person. And because of that, that is another reason why I decided to come back, because I thought it was a great way to be able to think about it and go forward and find a safe way for me to be able to interact with others. And it has been working great so far. Of course, I had my moments here and there, but I'm quite proud of myself. I think a lot of it, well, not I think, I know. A lot of it has to deal with the amazing people I have met so far. I know the VTubing community gets a bad rep, but I'm very fortunate that I'm able to meet all these amazing individuals who are so lovely, and they're just so lovely. They're so talented, and they inspire me so much. And they have given me so much great advice and making me feel comfortable within the content creation sphere. When I first started out, I had a lot of imposter syndrome when I was 16. And I was very focused about the numbers because a lot of my friends who were also content creators, I mean IRL people who I'm not friends with anymore, unfortunately or fortunately, it depends on the person. They were quite toxic with it, I would say. It was always about the grind and becoming the best, you know, and I just wanted to do it because I wanted to be creative. Like I said earlier, I have always been performing since I was young. I started doing dance when I was 3, like many people, but I continued with it all the way until I was 18. 3 to 5, I did ballet, and then I stopped for a couple of years, and then 7 to 18, 7 to 9, I did ballet, jazz, tap, hip-hop, some contemporary here and there, other styles, you know. And then 9 to 11, 10 to 11, I can't remember exactly. I was in competitive, and I also took side classes to be able to start training to audition for professional schools and professional ballets and other things like that, to be able to become a professional dancer. Of course, that fell through for many reasons that have to deal with personal things. And then I had to stop dance for a little while. And then I went back to it when I was in high school. But in the meantime, I did theater. And I started off backstage with stage crew because I will be honest, I don't have the best singing voice. I can hold a note or two, and I can be an alto if you want me to. But actually singing in the way of being, you know, what people would be like, wow, that's really good. I'm not there. You probably listen to my voice and go, wow, that's very average, which I'm happy with. I'm fine with being average in that area, because I was good at dance, and that's what mattered to me. And yeah, and I did theater, and I loved it. I didn't do it in high school because the theater in high school felt too competitive for me. I love being competitive. I'm a very competitive person, but when it gets to the point where it's hurting my mental well-being, I don't think I should do that anymore. At that point, it's not a passion or a hobby. It's just like, why? I don't enjoy it anymore. Why am I making myself do this? But I still love theater. It's just, I knew if I did it in high school, I would lose my love for it, and I didn't want that. And then I did the dance team for my school for a little bit. And then I stopped my sophomore year because I had French class and I wanted to become fluent in that, and I didn't. But I tried. And I got to the point where I did swing dance instead. You know, the 1950s style, 1940s technically to late 1950s style. And I loved it. And definitely probably my worst dance style, but I still enjoyed it. I'm definitely a lot better at jazz and ballet, but alas, it is what it is. I still loved it. I met so many great people that I'm still close with today. And I did robotics as well, and you know, the 10 other clubs that I was a part of, but those were the performing aspects of it all. And as I continued on, I did content creation during that time, and I loved it. And then I stopped, and then college hit, and I stopped being creative. And that took a toll on me because I'm a creative person. I love making things. Whether it's crocheting, knitting, sewing, drawing, anything else. I like to express myself that way. I've always been like that. I've always been a person who, although I have a lot of words now, when I was a child, I didn't have any. I was a selective mute, and because of that, the best way I could get my feelings across and communicate was through art. And so I'm happy to be back with content creation. I like to be authentic, I guess, is the short of that, you know? The question, I guess, that I never posed in this time. I've always liked being authentic online because I can't be a character for that long. Even though I did theater and other things like that, it's just not for me. And I highly respect people who can change their voice and do it for long periods of time and be able to act out this character. That takes a lot of talent, and I highly respect that. The people who are so immersive with it and make content that way, I think that's so amazing and incredible. I like to be loud. I like to curse. I like to be silly. I like to do other things like that. Not saying that you can't do that when you're playing a character, but I feel like to play a character, it wouldn't be me. Or it couldn't be me. Even though I would say that my model is technically a character, it is an OC in a way. I'm still me, but I look different. I would say Kat, this character, I guess, is a little bit more thinky throughy, I guess. I'm very outspoken in person. I'm still outspoken, I would say, out of pocket in a way online. But I'm more silly with it in person, I guess. And I'm louder. And I'm more dramatic, which is so surprising because I'm so dramatic online. So I guess I'm still me, but a little more muted. Which is crazy because if you saw my Resident Evil streams, I was a little crazy on that. I sound like, whenever I say things like that, I feel like I'm saying, I'm not like other girls. Which is not what I'm trying to say in this. But That's how it's coming across. But maybe bluntness is definitely not as extreme, I would say, online. I'm quite blunt. In person. It's just really funny sometimes. And sometimes it's because I'm neurodivergent. Which, who isn't online at this point? We all like to be together in a group. We find each other, so it makes sense. But yeah. And it's always so interesting to me how we're able to use this platform in a way to still express ourselves, whether we're being us or a different person. And I've always loved that, and I keep on repeating that. It's something I've always found so interesting. Such a great way to be creative. When I said that this time, it made me think of like thinking creatively from, oh my gosh, what's it called? Oh my god, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. I love that series. It was kind of hard going into VTubing and deciding if I wanted to be a character or not. Originally, I was a tech VTuber with this model. A little confusing, isn't it? Because you can't tell that. But it's because I'm in a tech area field and I wanted to be me. But I still wanted a little more separation. Hence why I became a Cupid VTuber. And it's funny because of course that is a mythological being. And for me, I've always loved love. I love Cupids. I've always see a Cupid from Monster High or from Ever After High, if you were into that as kids. I was. Or as adults or teenagers, because the obsession for those shows never end. But I loved those growing up, and that was one of my favorite characters. And I love how there's multiple types of love. How they're like the Greek version. Like Eros, Agape, other things like that. And how in other languages, besides English, there's multiple ways to say that you love somebody. It can be very serious, it could be casual, it could be familiar, family, other things like that. In English, we just have I like you and I love you. We have I adore you. We have other things like that, but it doesn't have the same translation, same meaning. And I've always found that interesting. There's so many different ways to go about it. Love has so many different meanings and ways to express it. And that's really what got me into wanting to be a Cupid VTuber. Because I feel like that's a huge part of my personality, is putting yourself forward in a positive way. Like I said, I started this because I wanted to make memories. I wanted to have something that showed my ideas, my creativity, my connections in a way of like positive. And of course, there can be negative moments. Now, I'm not saying negativity is necessarily bad, like how stress can be good, but can be bad. Everything needs a balance. And my balance was creating something positive. And I love that. And yeah, so I love to hear what you guys have to say. Of course, this is a shorter start because it is the beginning. In the future, I hope to make the videos longer, but I don't want to make this one too long. To the other VTubers who may be watching this, I'd love to hear what you have to say about how you present yourself if you're willing. To the viewers who may not be in content creation or other content creation people, I would love to hear your guys' input. And honestly, I would just love to hear what you guys like to say. If you want to see more videos like this, you will if you subscribe. I feel weird saying this. But if you enjoyed this and you made it this far, please leave a like. It will help the channel a lot. But thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!